Israeli airstrikes on Gaza's southern city of Rafah and surrounding areas killed more than 100 people, including children, overnight Monday. The Israel Defense Forces are proceeding with their aim to win the war, despite the international community criticizing them for costing too many lives in the process. Eun-jin starts us off.
The Israel Defense Forces attacked Gaza's southern city of Rafah and surrounding areas overnight Monday, with jets targeting different areas of the city and helicopters firing machine guns along border areas. More than 100 people, including children, were killed in what CNN called extremely intense Israeli airstrikes. According to a Palestinian media source, Israel conducted about 40 airstrikes on the Rafah region in the early hours of the morning in an area where 1.4 million Gazans have taken refuge since the conflict began. The White House reported that in a call with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday, President Joe Biden pushed back on the planned military operation in Rafah, telling the Israeli leader that Israel should not proceed without a credible and executive plan to protect the Palestinian civilians sheltering there. However, Netanyahu brushed off international warnings and criticism, saying that telling Israel not to enter Rafah was like telling the country to lose the war. The Israel Defense Force proceeded with the airstrikes despite a firestorm of criticism, with Human Rights Watch saying the forced displacement of Palestinians in Rafah would have catastrophic consequences, while the United Nations said it was extremely worried about the fate of civilians in Rafah who need to be protected. Following his meeting in Washington with Jordan's King Abdullah on Monday, the U.S. president said the United States is pushing for a 6-week pause in the fighting between Israel and Hamas in Gaza as a stepping stone towards a longer ceasefire.
As the King and I discussed today, the United States is working on a hostage deal between Israel and Hamas, which would bring an immediate and sustained period of calm to Gaza for at least 6 weeks, which we could then take the time to build something more enduring.
Meanwhile, Hamas said Monday that 3 Israeli hostages died from wounds sustained during the intense Israeli attacks over the weekend. According to the Israel Defense Forces, 2 Israeli hostages were rescued Monday, having both spent 128 days in captivity. They are said to be in relatively good condition and have been reunited with their families. Israel says there are still over 130 Israelis being held hostage. Eun-jin, 아리랑뉴스.